Okay, so the canoe's coming along, and now we're working below the water line, all right? And so the curves within the strips are starting to get a little bit complicated because we're working in this area here, and so we've got a curve around the boat like this, as well as downwards, and then the stems curve the other way, all right? So we have three different curves, compound curves, and so it makes it a little bit trickier. In this area, in addition to the masking tape and the cleats, I also use Velcro straps that I made. The Velcro straps go around the cedar strips, and just their nature and how they work, it's slightly different from masking tape and the cleats. They actually help to form the strips into those curved areas. Now that we've completed stripping the hull from the shear line up to the water line, we're going to finish it off by continuing from the water line and doing the bottom. I'm going to go over a few different ways to strip the bottom of the hull. The first way I'm going to go over is a method that we're not going to use, so I'll just explain it briefly. What that is creating basically like a football shaped patch in the bottom of the hull. And you can use that on any boat that has a flat section in the bottom. So you can see that the flat section of this canoe is from this station to this station. And then from there on, we start to get a peak in the center of the station forms. Okay? So to build up a football shaped pattern, what I would do is simply take some strips, find my center line, and place the first strip along the center line, and staple or tack it in place. And then from there, I'd add more strips within that flat section. All right. When we're working with a peak in the center of the station form, the football patch ends up being difficult, so that ends up being where it terminates. Okay, and simply because this section is nice, we're just basically making a strip sheet, and where we have the peak, we start to have that curve, and it just becomes difficult. All right. So then, doing that method, all we would do from there is continue stripping the same way we have up to the football patch, and then trim the strips so that they join up and glue them together. The next method, which I've already used in this construction, is to create a center line that runs from the bow to the stern of the boat, and then trim each strip so that you have that perfect straight line run down the center of the hull. When doing the center line method, what we do is we work on one side and continue on that side until we get to the center of the hull. All right, so I would glue this strip and then the next and continue, and then I would have ends of the strips overhanging, and I would run a straight line and then trim it with an X-Acto knife or my Dozuki saw, or a combination of the two. And then I would work from the other side and strip it up. The third method is creating a chevron pattern within the bottom. And so to do that, we do one strip on one side and then alternate from side to side and trim the ends so that they lap. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do that, and we'll go. To create the chevron pattern, we're going to need a pencil, a little piece of scrap cedar strip, as well as your Dozuki saw and an X-Acto knife. And the key to doing this is to dry fit. So instead of putting the glue in and trimming the ends after it's in place, now we're going to dry fit every strip and then do the glue. And then that way we're sure that the strip's going to fit the way it's supposed to. Okay, so what we're going to do is take our cedar strip, there's no glue in the cove, and we're going to line it up and get it as close to in place as we can. And then with our pencil, we're going to mark the one end where the strip will join, and then the other point, which is currently at the center. So then I'll just take my strip, lay it across, and then trace that line. Now, my strip I put underneath, and I'll take my saw and I'll cut that. Now with the strip cut with the proper angle, I'll just slide it into place, and using a piece of masking tape, I'll temporarily hold it so that I can get the next end. One of the tricks to getting it to fit up is just cut a little oversized. So I've made my line, and instead of cutting directly on the line, I'm going to cut on the other side, and then after that I'll use the X-Acto knife to trim it down. Okay, now that we've got it to the right shape, just remove that temporary masking tape. Add our glue and glue it into place. Okay, make sure you have some glue at the end. Slide it in so it's snug. And put the tape back on. And now to finish off the bottom of the hull, we just continue the same process by dry fitting each strip, marking the ends, and cutting them to fit. Being able to see what you're doing right now is really important. As you get closer to the center line, the angle that you have to cut is going to get greater and greater. So you might want to switch to using a bandsaw. But if you're comfortable with using the Dozuki saw, by all means, you can continue doing it that way. Building a cedar strip canoe does involve watching glue dry sometimes, and that's okay.